Hello Feline family, and welcome back to my channel. Today I have a get ready with me video for you all, and today I was going to a family get together. So I've already moisturized my face and I'm going in with the e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer. This stuff is amazing for filling in those large pores. So I usually focus on where I have trouble areas, which is usually around my nose, in the middle of my forehead, on my chin, maybe sometimes on my cheeks. But this stuff is great for filling them in, making it look like you have an airbrush complexion by the time you are done applying the rest of your makeup. So for today, I'm using L'Oreal 24-Hour Fresh Wear Infallible Foundation. This is a nice drugstore foundation that I would suggest. I actually matched my skin pretty well, which is saying something because I feel like that's an impossible task. So I'm using a wet beauty blender to apply my makeup today. Sometimes I go back and forth between the sponge or a brush, depending on how much time I have and the different types of finish on my foundation that I'm going for. This usually takes a long time, so I'm just going to fast forward. So now we are all set, and I'm going in with concealer. I'm using the Tarte Shape Tape Concealer. Depending on how red my face is, depends on how much or where I put this. I usually always put it underneath my eyes, a little bit on my nose, and then any large pimples or red spots I usually cover up. And I have a cute little tiny sponge for this as well. I love using this little sponge. It gets underneath the eye area, fills in all those creases, and again, takes forever. So now I'm going in with a brightening powder by Sonia Kashuk. She doesn't make this anymore. I believe she only makes brushes, which is really sad. So when I run out of this, I'm going to cry a little. But anyways, I'm taking that same wet beauty sponge, and I'm using this to kind of bake underneath my eyes. So once that is baking, I've also gone in with the Becca Hydra Mist Set and Refresh Powder. This is amazing because when you apply it to your skin, it feels like it's wet, but it really isn't. It's just a powder. So I'm just taking a nice fluffy brush by Farah, F-A-R-A-H. I don't really know. My mom gave this to me. So next would be bronzer, a Hoola Benefit Bronzer. I got this little trial size for a birthday gift from Ulta. So for this, I'm using a Luxie 680 Pro Precision Face Brush. This really works for getting that contour, chiseling out those cheekbones, the jaw, and around the forehead. Seems like I'm adding a lot of powder, but it works for me. I'm not taking any flash photography, so I'm not worried about any flashback. So one key with contouring is just it depends on your face. Try not to adjust how your face looks when you're contouring. You just want to chisel out your natural shadows. So just look straight on in the mirror and then find where that shadow lies in your face and start with a line there and then blend down towards your jawline. And again, with your jawline, you don't want to change the angle of it when you're applying it. You want to just keep that straight face towards the mirror. Obviously, you need to look at what you're doing, but don't adjust your face, if that makes sense. And now I'm just using a smaller brush just so I can chisel out my nose. The bridge of my nose is pretty narrow, so I usually focus on the little end of it because I have a button nose, so I try to make that look a little smaller. So now I'm using Pretty Vulgar Prim Vixen blush, and I'm using a crown brush that I got from, I think, BoxyCharm. And I make sure to blend this into my contour for a seamless finish. I usually never used to apply blush because my cheeks are already so red, but I realized after you put on all that foundation, it kind of makes your face come back to life a little. So I make sure I get that on the apple of the cheeks and blend upwards towards my hairline. Now I'm going in with Maybelline Fit Me pressed powder. This is just a very, 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 very light amount just to get more of a seamless blend and to set that contour and blush together. Like I said, just a very small amount. We don't want too much powder here. But now, since I do have a lot of powder on my face, it's time to set with the Morphe Continuous Setting Spray. Nice refreshing step in the middle of the makeup routine. And now onto the fun part. I'm going to grab all of my wonderful eye brushes, and we're going to start with brows. So here I'm using the JS7 brow brush. It's a duo brush with a spoolie on one end and the angled tip on the other. And I'll also be using Anastasia products. I have the Brow Wiz and the Dip Brow Pomade. And then I also like to finish with the NYX Tinted Brow Mascara. I do get a lot of compliments on my brows, and people always ask for tips on how to make your brows look like that. My biggest tip if you're starting from scratch is to just don't touch your brows. Just let them grow out and then get them shaped how you want. So I usually use my brow wiz to come to a point on each brow to try to make them look even on your face. They're never going to be identical. They're sisters, they're not twins. So I usually use the brow wiz to make that brow come down to a point, and then I'll go in with the dip brow pomade. You always want to make sure you're going light and then slowly build up if you need to, where your hairs are a little bit more sparse. I have definitely come a long way with my brows. It's been a roller coaster. I look back at old videos and I cringe. I look at those photos and videos and, I've come a long way. So you always want to make sure you're continually brushing up your hairs, finding that line, brushing up into your hairs with that pomade, and get that arch that you're looking for. So after I've done the pomade, I will go in with the tinted brow mascara to make the hairs seem like they're not caked down and actually are individual hairs. And I'll brush them out again. Depending on my eye look will depend if I use just my brow wiz, powder, or the pomade. Alright, so now both brows are done and we're going on to eyes. I'm using the Tati palette today. And I'm going with the Soothe and the Matte Finish. And I'm using the Luxie mini tapered brush. It is Luxie number 121. So I'm going to take this Soothe color. It's a lighter brown of the two that are in her palette. The other one is Ritual, which is a little bit darker. So I'm going to take this first and I'm going to stamp it into the outer corner of my eye. And as I do that, I'm going to slowly blend it in and make it nice and even. Again, I apologize that everything is mostly done off camera. My little makeup mirror is suctioned onto my actual mirror, so I don't really have a great place to put my phone yet. So now I'm flipping my brush upside down and making sure I blend it out and kind of get that shape that I'm looking for my eyeshadow today. Anyways, so again, you want to start with a little bit of product, build it up to the opacity that you are looking for. And of course, I forgot a step because, we're human and we forget things. So I forgot to use an eyeshadow base primer. This one is Luscious. So I'm just going to put that on after I've done my first step with a flat concealer brush. A little bit of this product goes a long way. So I will first apply it with the flat concealer brush and then I'll kind of pack it in with my fingertips. I'm all for using your fingers for makeup to a certain extent. So now that I have primed my eye after adding a color, I'm going to go in with the Soothe Metallic shade. This is so pretty. It's so shimmery and so smooth and buttery. So I'm going to use this again with my finger and I'm going to pack this on to my eye. This will be pretty much from the inner corner all the way out, blend in with that darker brown Soothe color on the outer corner. And you can always go in with the brush afterwards to fine tune exactly where you want your eyeshadow to go on your eye, because sometimes I can't get into the inner corner or my crease with my fingertips, but at least you can pack on the majority of the eyeshadow first. So that's what it looks like so far. Alright, so now we're going to switch gears a little bit and we're going to go into a different palette. This is the Riviera palette by Anastasia Beverly Hills. And I'm going to use the shade Cabana because it kind of matches my sweater. And I'm using a very nice fluffy brush, again by Jeffree Star. This one is the JS8 brush. And I'm going to just blend this into the top near my brow bone to try to add that color to match my sweater for the day. I'm all for matching my makeup to what I'm wearing for the day. So sometimes I'll create a makeup look first and then put on clothes, or I'll put on clothes and then make my makeup match what I'm wearing for that day. Now back to the Tati palette. I'm going to go in with a small Luxie 141 mini round brush. This is great for the inner corner. So I'm going to use Aura, and it's going to be a little bit of the sequin and a little bit of the metallic finish. And I'm going to put this into the inner corner and then right underneath the brow and maybe a little bit on top of the brow bone. So this is a great highlighter. I love using this for regular highlighter on the face as well. All right, now both eyes are done and kind of symmetrical. So I'm going to go in some eyeliner. This is the Hank & Henry Stick With It eyeliner, and I am obsessed with this. Someone recently asked me if I like it, and I have nothing bad to say about it at the moment. I mean, I'm sure there are plenty of better eyeliners out there, but I got this one in a box, and I'm just in love with it. So similar to what I do my brows with, I'm going to make the wing of my eyeliner first on both eyes to try to make them as even as possible, even though it doesn't always work out that way. So once I make the wing on both sides, then I'll start filling in. And I always feel like one eye will look perfect, and then I'll do the other eye and there will be uneven. I have to keep going back and forth until the wings just become something completely else, or even bolder than I was imagining. But we live with what we got and we work with what we have. Again, like, you know, your wings are sisters. They're not twins, just like your eyebrows. So now I'm going in with the Urban Decay Perversion Mascara. And I'm going to use House of Lashes in Serene Light. So I did that off camera really quick. Got our eyelashes and mascara on and going in with the Ofra Liquid Lip in the shade Duchess. I'm going to apply this again off camera where you can't really see, but I don't really have a lip liner that matches this. I don't always use lip liner, but today we're just going in. Alright, so lip has been applied. Now we're going in with some highlight. And we're going in with Jaclyn Hill's loose highlighter in shade Extra, and boy is it extra. I have not sprayed my face. I have not sprayed the brush that I'm using, which is the Luxie 522 Tapered Highlighter. And do you see that? Do you see that glow? Please tell me you see that glow. It is amazing. It doesn't always come through on camera as well as it does in person, but this is one of my favorite highlighters right now, and I'm so glad I impulsively bought it. Alright, so I'll do a little bit on my nose. And we're all set with that. And to finish it off, I'm going with the Urban Decay All Nighter Setting Spray and give myself a quick dry with my Chinese fan. Alright guys, so that's it. And here's the finished look for the day. I'm ready to go out and have fun and bond with my family. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please make sure to like and subscribe, and any support would be greatly appreciated. Ta-ta!